We started with this kind of yellow hazy mess, and we end up with something that looks much more like a new headlight. I've seen worse. But these look so much better, especially with the size of these pieces of plastic on these CRVs. Cleaning them up really makes the front end look a lot better. So here's how I clean these lenses and restore them without a kit. Here's what you're going to need. Do some masking tape to tape off the painted and the trim areas. We'll start with 1000 grit wet or dry sandpaper. Then go to 2000 grit wet or dry sandpaper, and it works good for polishing plastic. Then I'm going to finish it off just with putting a coat of spray wax on it just to protect it. And you'll need a couple of clean microfiber or terry cloth rags. Okay, with that, let's get started. We'll start just by opening the hood. Get it out of the way. Then we'll just mask off this painted area here and this trim piece down here. Now you might think that you can be careful with the sandpaper and not damage your paint, but it doesn't take much. If that sandpaper starts hitting this paint, you will mark up the paint and mark up the plastic down here. So it's better to take some masking tape. This is just some painter's tape that I have, and we'll mask off this the painted area. And just take your time with this. Make sure that you get it protected. Okay, next, make sure you're working with a clean surface. I'm just going to wipe this down with a sponge, get rid of any dust or grime that might be on that headlight. Now we'll start with the 1000 grit wet or dry sandpaper. I'm going to have a little bucket of water handy to lubricate the sandpaper and to clean. Just dip this in here. I'm just going to go all over it without a lot of force. Just kind of let the sandpaper do the work. Circular motions for the most part, although you can mix it up a little. Clean that sandpaper off once in a while. All right, Once you're done with the 1000 grit, clean it off. Now you'll notice it'll probably look hazy all over now. That's because you've scratched it. You've taken some material off that plastic with the 1000 grit. Now we're going to start cleaning it up with the 2000 grit. So switch to 2000 grit. 2000 grit, wet or dry. And just fold this over. Let's start polishing with the 2000 grit for another 5 minutes or so. One thing you'll notice here as you get into the 2000 grit is it'll start to feel smoother. Like that sandpaper is gliding across the plastic as we smooth it out to the 2000 grit level. Okay, now we'll switch to a rubbing compound. I'm just going to use this generic turtle wax rubbing compound. Put a little blob on there. And this rubbing compound will start to take out some of those finer scratches. See how things are looking? It's looking clearer for sure. Okay, after the rubbing compound, we'll go to the plastic polisher. Again, this is Meguiar's Plastex. There's different brands you can get. This one's available anywhere. And so we'll just rub this one in all over the place. I believe this has those diminishing compounds that start off a bit coarse, and as you rub it, they become finer. I think that's how this stuff works. So you just kind of want to work the whole area. And you could do a couple of runs of this just to make sure you get as many scratches out as possible. And then as a final step, this might be optional, I don't know if this makes any difference really, I always just put a coat of wax on it. Just got some cleaner wax here. Just rub this in. just as a final protectant layer. And that's it. Remove your protective tape. And that's the end result. If you look really close, you might find a few little scratches that you could continue to work on, but it depends on how fussy you are. So we started with this kind of yellow hazy mess, and we end up with something that looks much more like a new headlight without having to buy one of those fancy headlight restoration kits. Sandpaper, rubbing compound, and a little bit of plastic polish. Anyway, thanks for watching. If this works for you, let me know, and give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and look forward to more videos like this. Thanks for watching.